Outside, the cold weather in the dead of winter can make you crazy, but inside the Bradley Center in Milwaukee, Marquette fans are crazy for their Golden Eagles against the Pitt Panthers. Welcome to our coverage of Big East basketball. Tonight, the number 9 team in the country, the Pitt Panthers, will be playing inside the Bradley Center against the Marquette Golden Eagles. Let's check out the latest standings, the top 8 in the Big East Conference. You see, Pitt is playing for a first-round bye in the conference tournament, while Marquette is playing to make the conference tournament in its first year in the Big East. Hi, everybody. I'm John Rooney along with Perry Clark. And, Perry, we're going to see some exciting players tonight, a sellout crowd here. But one of the exciting players, let's talk about right off the top, Dominique James.
I tell you, Dominique James is a very special player. He's a young man that really makes things happen. He can get other people involved, and when the time is necessary, he can step up as against Georgetown and make big shots and big plays. There you see him, a great drive late in that game to ice the game against Georgetown. I think he's one of the best guards in the country as a freshman.
Let's check out our Star Watch. Joining James, 7-footer Aaron Gray. While James has the quickness, Gray has the power for Pitt.
Aaron Gray has really improved. That's been well noted, but what he does for Pittsburgh, he does a great job on the offensive glass. He also is able to score for him.
The Pitt Panthers, the 9th-ranked team in the country. Marquette has been very good against the Big East competition, and the game is coming up.
I'm Emeka Okafor.
My name is Izzy Pat.
Tonight's Big East game is brought to you by Hyundai, with quality that lets them offer America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles. By Oppenheimer Funds, the right way to invest. And by Advance Auto Parts. For the best parts, people, and prices, we're ready in advance. Here are the lineups for the Pitt Panthers and the Marquette Golden Eagles. And you see Steve Novak right off the top, number 22 for Marquette, averaging 16-7 a game. And number 11 is Carl Krauser. He has 102 assists. He needs one more victory to be able to take part in 100 career wins at Pittsburgh. What an accomplishment.
And one of those wins came against me when I coached at Miami. He went to the length of the court to score a bucket with 5 seconds left to go in the game.
34-13, Jamie Dixon in his 3rd season as head coach of the Pitt Panthers. His teams have won 20 games in each of his seasons. They've won 20 games 5 years in a row. There's Tom Crean. What a job he has done with this Marquette program. He has taken them to the Final Four, 138 wins.
Well, Tom has just done a tremendous job. There's some guys, when you meet them, you know they have it. And Tom is one of those guys, once you're around him in this program, you know he's got it.
Usman Barrow and Aaron Gray will jump center as we start this Big East game tonight. Jim Burr will give the ball a toss. Fran Scagliotta and Fran Connolly are the other Big East officials working the game tonight. And here's Pitt on the attack. A sellout crowd at the Bradley Center.
John, right off the bat, one of the things you have to be look at is Pitt's ability to get to the offensive glass. They really did a great job the first half as far as out rebounding Marquette.
And here's Gray. Good hands, but good hands by Barrow of Marquette. Dominique James in the front court with Marquette in goal. James directing traffic while using the through-the-legs dribble. In on the taller Kendall. Barrow was open, but the ball squirted through his hands like a bar soap in the shower.
One of the things they worked on in shoot-around was pick and roll.
And there's Aaron Gray with the first basket of the game.
Marquette wanted to use the pick and roll to try to get Gray moving a little bit and then send Barrows to the basket.
Here's Novak. He's at the point. James on the handoff, and he's watched by Kendall. James off the back iron. And the ball is secured by John DeGroat. And a whistle with a Marquette player down, and that's Dominique James. James was injured in the first meeting between these two teams. Pitt won that one 77-71. And James had to leave the game late, and Tom Crean thought his team wasn't quite the same after that.
Well, whenever you lose your point guard, especially one as talented as James, in some way as unselfish, certainly it affects the flow of your team. And I'm sure Coach sees that happen and says, okay, here comes deja vu again. But it looks like he's okay.
This is a physical Pitt Panther team, 20-3, 9-3 in the Big East Conference. James, he's going to jog off the floor. Wesley Matthews, he had to sit out a few ball games with a stress fracture in his right foot. He was out December 28th to February 1st. He wears the number 23 and enters the game for Marquette. Here's Marquette setting up in a 2-3.
One of the things that really concerned them was Pitt getting the ball inside. I'm sure he's changing defenses just to try to throw him off a little bit early.
Ray with the lob pass. And DeGroat travel with the ball.
John, sometimes a change of defense just for a possession can just get a team off balance, especially when they've been working against your man-to-man defense. The change of defense kind of gets them off balance a little bit.
Each team with a turnover now, and here come the Golden Eagles trying to tie the score or take the lead with a 3 on this trip. Ramon is guarding Matthews.
Matthews at the point is not a big change for Marquette because they were going to put him at the point even with James.
Novak! And that's a 2. Boy, that's something Coach Crean wants Novak to do, is take control of the game like he did against UConn when he scored 41. Coach would like that every night out, wouldn't he?
He really would. People say Marquette plays better in this building. I think it's because Novak shoots better in this building.
McNeil taps the ball away from Ronald Ramon. And here's the Novak shot.
They have him running the baseline right there. He gets a baseline screen, catches squares, and knocks it down.
That was a 3. So Novak, he scores the first field goal for Marquette, 3-2.
They're putting it back as a 2, Coach.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a 2.
Coach John, they put it back as a 2.
Thank you, Coach. I thought I was wrong, but I was right. Mark that one down, something unusual. A tie ball game, 18:06 to go, a sellout crowd. Sub-zero temperatures outside, but nice and toasty inside. Krauser. Ramon with the save. And DeGroat was fouled. That's on Jarrell McNeil, his first.
I think it's on Chapman.
You're right. Chapman's first foul.
Another reason for Marquette playing the zone, Pitt really does an effective job running their man-to-man offense. Coaches in the Big East know how well Pitt runs their man-to-man offense, and I think just to give them a different look maybe to start the game.
DeGroat with the runner along the baseline. Pitt up by 2.
You talk about this Pittsburgh team. Nobody thought at the beginning of the year that they would have the type of season they've had, and you got to give Jamie Dixon a lot of credit for that.
Here's the shot for 3, short this time by Novak. A nice job rebounding by John DeGroat. He's active in the early going, Perry.
He is. He does a great job on the glass, and that's one of the main reasons why he's in the game, to rebound the ball.
DeGroat has this one spin out of bounds to Marquette.
One of the things I know Coach Crean would love to see his team do is get the ball inside. Right now they're settling for perimeter jump shots, but in order to beat Pitt, you have to be able to challenge them inside. Whether or not they pick and roll or whatever, they really have to get the ball in the low block area.
And this is tapped all the way to their big man, Aaron Gray. Charles Krauser has the ball on the other end, and he's fouled. Krauser, the fellow who had his hands on the ball. Gray started the outlet.
Well, one of the things about this Pittsburgh team, they play with a lot of poise. You know, they come into a hostile building and a big game, and they're doing the things that they do well. They're taking good shots, they're defending, they're settling themselves down, and that's what a mature team does.
Carl Krauser, senior out of the Bronx, New York. He missed on his first free throw. He's a 73% shooter. But this type of environment, Perry, this is exactly what a coach wants in late February to get ready for what's coming up in March in the conference and later on, hopefully for many of these teams, the NCAA tournament.
Oh, without question, you want to be in meaningful ball games, and this is a meaningful game for both teams.
Pitt with a 3-point lead. Number 23, Wesley Matthews, came in the early going of this one, with Dominique James going over to the sideline for Marquette. McNeil using some muscle to create some room. After the collision with Krauser, he scores.
The Marquette freshmen, Matthews, McNeil, and James, all have the ability to get into the lane and create.
Here's Krauser. DeGroat for the corner, and Ramon misses on the three-point attempt. And a foul against their big man, Aaron Gray. That's his first.
And again, Marquette's ability to block off is really going to be critical in this basketball game because Pitt likes to flex his muscles, especially on the offensive glass. A lot of times when you hear about people being physical, where they're physical is with their defense and rebounding.
Ryan Amoroso, number 43, is in. Chapman to the bench for Marquette. Dominic James also back in for the Golden Eagles. Kendall is chasing Novak, trying to stay with him, while Matthews takes the pass on the outside. And here's Novak. He took a step before he put the ball down.
He did, and again, that was a set play. They ran him off of a weak side screen and then have him come out the backside off of a stagger.
3 turnovers for Marquette, and they're coming off a 13-turnover game in their win over Georgetown. Ramon guarded by James. Krauser. There's Gray to DeGroat. Nice and easy does it. DeGroat has scored 2 field goals. Good ball movement by the Panthers.
It really is.
And a foul with James penetrating the lane. The foul is on Ronald Ramon. That's his first. And we have a timeout. 7-4 Pitt. And for John DeGroat, he has 2 field goals. He came into the game averaging 3.3 a game. We're just getting started in Milwaukee, and Pittsburgh has a 7-4 lead over Marquette. And looking back to the last meeting at Pittsburgh, Dominique James was injured after this steal, foul right there. He was hurt and then bumped by Antonio Graves into the press table at the end of the floor. And Tom Crean thought once James went out of the game with that sequence that it was a much different night. And here are the end results. A 6-point loss by Marquette. Graves had 19 in that one. And there is James. Dominic James, 30 minutes at Pitt, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. And Novak can't handle it. Kendall with his hands on the ball, but saved by Matthews.
One of the things Pittsburgh does when they're man-to-man, they really come up and pressure the ball hard. And so once you catch it, you have to square right away because they're putting tremendous ball pressure on you, which makes it hard for you to deliver the basketball to the next player.
And Perry, it doesn't really matter where the ball is, 3-point line or next to the lane or inside the lane.
No, and all their guys come out and do it, big or small.
And a foul with the ball inside as Wesley Matthews attempted a shot, and he's going to the line. Kendall with the personal foul. That's his first and the third on the Panthers. But there was probably the best ball movement by Marquette in the early going.
Without question. And again, I thought earlier they were beginning to rush a little bit.
Another one for Wesley Matthews.
But John, really impressed with the poise Pitt has come into this game and played with, especially in this environment, and as well as Marquette has been playing coming into this game.
Wesley Matthews, a freshman from Madison, Wisconsin. Number 23, Sam Young, has just checked in for the Pitt Panthers. Matthews with 2 points. Pressure applied by the Golden Eagles.
And again, they're just trying to change the tempo on them a little bit.
James poked it free. Saved by Ramon. And
I think they were calling a time. Krauser was trying to call a timeout when the ball was in the air.
10 seconds was the call. 10 seconds. It is a turnover to Marquette. The second turnover by the Panthers. Marquette to inbound at midcourt. That's Novak into James. And James is met by Ronald Ramon. And a foul. That's 2 on Gray.
And again, that was part of Marquette's strategy, I think, is to use the ball screen to try to get Gray out of position and come out and have to guard the guards as they try to penetrate.
Tyrell Biggs, number 5, in for that man, Aaron Gray, out with his second foul at 14:59 left in the first half. There's Matthews to inbound for Marquette, with Pitt leading by 1. Amoroso to Matthews. Matthews is open and scores. Free throw line extended to the left.
If Matthews, James, and McNeil get into the lane, it's going to be a tough evening for Pittsburgh because they can all finish.
Here's Ramon clearing the timeline. And poked free by James, and that's a foul on James. And Marquette is a very physical team, trying to match the physical play of the Pitt Panthers.
Well, yeah, Tom has a really nice personality, but he is a fierce competitor. And I know he took it hard when his team got manhandled in the last game. He felt like on the glass, and I'm sure they're going to come out with an aggressiveness in this basketball game.
Keith Benjamin, number 1, a sophomore from Mount Vernon, New York, is in the game for Pitt. He has the ball out front to Levance Fields. Here's Krauser. Novak couldn't get the rebound, and Pitt scores. Benjamin's first field goal of the game.
Again on the offensive glass, and that was the thing that gave Marquette a lot of problems in the first game.
Fields is watching Matthews. Dominic James guarded by Carl Krauser. Now off the switch, there's Fields. Fields with James. Novak. That's a three-point attempt. A long rebound to the corner. That's nicely done by Sam Young.
John, one of the reasons why Pitt has been successful this year is because they've got other people stepping up, and they've got really great bench play.
Here's Fields. That's short. Nice rebound by Biggs. He can't score it. Amoroso taken away by Biggs, and a foul.
Amazing job on the glass that time by Biggs. He just stayed with it.
And here's Pitt crashing the boards just the way the Panthers did at home against Marquette.
Well, what they do when the ball's in the air, they're trying to get position. There you see Biggs. He got it, missed it, went after it hard, and stayed with it.
An air ball, but there's Fields for the loose ball and the field goal. Levance Fields. He averages 5.4 a game, and he has his first 2 tonight.
But that's how guys coming off the bench are able to score, where you don't have to run plays for them. They can go get it off the glass.
Novak counted for 3. He has 5 in the first half.
You don't want him to get warmed up in this building. They've been running a lot of plays for him, trying to get him going.
The game is tied at 11. Levance Fields, a freshman from Brooklyn. The senior from the Bronx, Carl Krauser. Here's Benjamin. Too strong on his 3 try. Biggs tears it away. Matthews steps in front of Young, knocking the ball out of bounds with 32 on the shot clock. Here's what you're talking about, Perry.
Set play. They set a screen for him. He comes over on the flare and knocks it down.
Young with the ball for Pittsburgh. Graves at the point. Antonio Graves to Fields.
Marquette has gone man-to-man now. I think Coach wants him to do a better job on the glass. And when you go man-to-man, you got individual responsibility as far as blocking out.
Chris Grimm and Dan Fitzgerald have checked in for Marquette. The short shot goes down for Sam Young. His first field goal tonight. And Pitt goes back up by 2.
But, John, this is the thing that makes this Pitt team so good. Guys coming in off the bench and giving meaningful contribution. And that's what Jamie Dixon's had all year from his ball club.
Fitzgerald used to play at Tulane. There's a shot for 3 by Novak. He has 8 points, equaling his output in 34 minutes at Pittsburgh earlier this season.
He does love the Bradley Center, doesn't he?
41 in an upset win over UConn in the very first Big East game Marquette played. And a crowd of 18,550, maybe a little more here tonight. A sellout at the Bradley Center.
Marquette has gone back to the zone.
Fields, a 3-point attempt, count it! Levance Fields has 5.
That time they had a lot of patience. They were able to get into the gap, penetrate, and kick, and they got Fields for a nice jump shot.
To enhance your comment, Perry, 9.6 rebounds by the Pitt bench so far. Fitzgerald with the bounce pass, Matthews with the high-arcing shot, and Benjamin with the rebound. Keith Benjamin all the way in. Too strong off the back iron, and the volley. There's Chapman. Joe Chapman, the senior from Chicago Heights, Illinois. Nice catch by Wesley Matthews. Inside, Graham scores.
Again, off the pick and roll, that is giving Pitt problems so far because they don't know whether or not they're hedging or going underneath the screens.
16 all with 10:51 left in the first half. And that basket has this building rocking. Here's the ball movement by the Marquette Golden Eagles.
See the screen? He opened up properly at Graham and was able to get a good layup out of that. But again, he's got two guys stuck on the dribbler and leaves the roll man wide open.
The pick and roll ties the score at 16. And Graham off the bench with a couple of points. Matthews has scored 4 tonight. Novak has 8 points, equaling his 8 points at Pittsburgh earlier this season. But Steve is coming off a 19-point effort in 38 minutes against Georgetown.
You know, John, obviously it's something that Marquette has seen in the scouting reports that they think that they can take an advantage of, because almost on every play you're getting a ball screen and then you're getting some sort of weak side action. So it's something that they think that they can take advantage of with Pittsburgh, and so far it's been working and they've been able to get the ball inside.
Levon Kendall, a junior from Vancouver, British Columbia, will inbound after the Pitt timeout. And full court pressure mildly applied this time by the Golden Eagles. Bowser in the front court. Off the switch. Here's Kendall shooting, and he got the bounce off the rim and off the glass.
Pitt used a little ball screen then. They said if it can work for you, it can work for us.
Chapman going back door for the layup by Matthews. That play was wide open.
Anybody that's played against Marquette knows they have a lot of different sets.
And there was Grimm. He was squaring off for the rebound and was fouled by Levon Kendall. Levon has 2 personals. Marquette has done a nice job of moving the ball, fighting through picks, but this backdoor play was a thing of beauty. 18 all Marquette and Pitt in the first half. Pittsburgh at Marquette in Big East basketball in Milwaukee, Wisconsin tonight. And Steve Novak, the 6'10 senior from Brown Deer, Wisconsin, has already scored 8, Perry.
He has, and he's done it in a lot of different ways. They've been running plays for him there. You see him getting a fade screen right there. He knocks down a jump shot. Now he comes off a curl from the baseline, knocks down another jump shot. He's been moving well without the ball and shooting the ball well.
Steve's father, Michael Novak, in attendance tonight, as he is so many ball games with the Marquette Golden Eagles. 8 points for his son Steve, who averages 16.7 points a game. January 28th at Pittsburgh, 3 out of 9 from the field with 8 points, 3 for 5 so far tonight. We still have 10 and counting left in the first half of this one.
John, let me tell you, I know he's been reminded several times that he didn't do very well against Pittsburgh the first time, so he's a competitor.
Chapman trying to muscle up a shot. Grimm can't get there because Krauser takes it away for Pitt. Here's Carl Krauser, fields from the point, in there. That's a 3-point field goal, his second of the game. Give him 8 points in the first half.
And again, this Pittsburgh team, they play with a lot of poise. You can tell that they've been playing with each other for a while. Great pass that time by Krauser setting up field.
That's 12 points off the bench for Pittsburgh on 5 out of 9 shooting.
There you see Krause, he's pushing the ball. He knows exactly where Fields is, even without looking at it. And that's what I'm saying. You can tell they've been used to playing with each other.
After a foul on Chris Grimm, here come the Pitt Panthers. They're leading 21-18. 5 fouls on Marquette, 5 on Pitt in the first half. Krauser letting the traffic clear. Here's Fields at the free throw line. Krauser shooting a 3-ball.
Pittsburgh again. John, I'm really impressed with how well they're playing with each other, passing the ball. They're not playing any faster than what they want to. They're playing at a pace, especially on the road, that you need to play if you're going to be successful.
And Dominic James, weaving through traffic, scores his first field goal. But right back to what you're talking about, Perry. Here come the Panthers getting into their half-court set, looking at the Marquette zone.
You know, when you're on the road in the Big East, you're not going to probably blow people out. You just want to kind of keep the thing close and steal it at the end, and it's important that you play well, especially early, and that's what they're doing. Pitt is really setting the pace of this game.
Krauser off the back iron to Dominique James. So Pitt had 2 attempts at a basket. Great ball handling by James. Looking for help inside, and he threw the ball behind Jarrell McNeil, and it's Marquette's ball with 27 on the shot clock. So close to a turnover for Marquette. Marquette has turned the ball over 4 times so far tonight. 2 for Pitt.
And again, when you're on the road, you got to keep control of the basketball, not turn it over and rebound the ball, and that's what Pitt's been doing. And from the guys off the bench, which has been very, very impressive.
Doyle Hudson, number 21 in the game for Pitt, but nice positioning inside. Chapman scores for Marquette.
That was a great curl right there Chapman ran to get the ball in the low post.
A 2-point lead for Pitt. Krauser with the ball for the Panthers. Graves dropping it for Young, and a monster slam. My goodness. That one hurt my arm.
The explosiveness that these guys have. And again, it seems like everybody on this Pitt team can pass, catch, and can rebound.
Do you have thunder in 0-degree weather?
I think he's brought some.
I just heard it. My, oh my. Sam Young has scored 4. That was the tomahawk chop, wasn't it? We'll be right back. Coach's Spotlight is brought to you by Oppenheimer Funds. And let's take a closer look at Marquette Golden Eagles 7th-year head coach Tom Crean. 138-73 his record with the Golden Eagles. 5 postseason appearances, 2 in the NCAA tournament, including the Final Four in 2003. And this season, he is 2-3 against ranked teams, winning against UConn and Georgetown. Tom Crean, who came here from Michigan State as an assistant for Tom Izzo, putting his own stamp on a wonderful program in Milwaukee.
And John, he's done that with freshman guards because he's either playing with James or Matthews or McNeil, and to be in the Big East with freshman guards is amazing to have that kind of record.
Of course, our Big East Coaches Spotlight has been brought to you by Oppenheimer Funds. Oppenheimer Funds is proud to be the official mutual funds of the Big East Conference. Young with the thunder dunk before our break. He was fouled. And a 3-point play for Sam Young. He has 5 points off the bench for Pitt. 15-8. The Panthers have outscored the Golden Eagles. With Pitt going 6 of 11 from the field. The Golden Eagles 3 for 4 for their bench. Novak. He's hounded by Graves. Novak shoots over Graves, and he was fouled. Antonio Graves, first person.
And of the shots he's taken, John, that might have been the toughest because he had a guy right on. Most of the time, he's had pretty good space and distance between him and the defender to get shots off. So they've done a good job of getting him the basketball.
That's Barry Clark. I'm John Rooney. We're in Milwaukee, the Bradley Center. Novak has missed 1 free throw this season, and that was against the Cincinnati Bearcats. And that miss on a day when he went 3 for 4 from the line broke a streak of 68 consecutive free throws.
But this is a young man that has really developed his game and has gotten better as his career has gone along.
Double figures now, 10 points for Novak. And both teams have gone to the bench and have gone there often. Here's Ronald Ramon. Picked up now by Matthews. Wide open right of the lane. Good ball fake by Young, and the tip attempt won't go for Hudson. Here's Matthews in the front court for the Golden Eagles. Novak with a long 3, and that rattled out to Hudson.
They like Novak as the trailer so he can get those sort of shots.
This is Krauser. Count it. A 3-point basket for Carl Krauser, his second of the night. And he has 7 points in the first half. Tom Crean wants to talk about it as Pitt has opened up a 6-point lead inside 7 minutes left in the half.
Well, you think about this Pittsburgh team as Krauser knocks down that 3. You can't make a mistake against them, John. You know, whenever you make a mistake against, they come back and they bury you with it. And so you have to be on top of your game. And the one thing is they handle the ball very, very well, and they set each other up very, very well, and they're so deep. The depth of this Pittsburgh team, I think, is going to carry them a long way.
Barry, do you sense what I do, that Pittsburgh is really becoming comfortable before this big crowd here in Milwaukee?
Oh, they were comfortable in warm-ups. I mean, they've been comfortable ever since the ball's been up, and they play with a poise and an understanding. As a coach, you sit there and you want to see, can we disrupt the team? Can we get them doing some things that they don't like to do as we watch film and everything? And right now, Pittsburgh is playing exactly the way that they want to play. Marquette has not been able to disrupt them, and yet Marquette's playing pretty well.
Pitt is on a 12-6 run over the last 3.5 minutes, and that was since the game was tied at 18. But what amazes me, Pitt has that comfort level and that confidence going with all those substitutions. Here's James. Oh, what movement by James. Letting one man clear while still hanging in the air. He had the open shot, and he has 4 points.
John, what he just did looked easy. That's not very easy to do. He split the double team, got up, hesitated, and buried it.
Here's Young from the point. A line drive rebound. All the Panthers follow their shots, but there was James to take it away from Marquette. Fitzgerald. Matthews stepping up and off the glass.
And again, that's what the Marquette guards do. These freshmen can all penetrate and they can finish. And that's important because a lot of guys can penetrate, but they can't finish. All these guys, McNeil, James, and Matthew, are strong enough to finish.
Here's Ramon, near steal by James. Nice catch by Young. James pokes the ball free, and Barrow is fouled. For Pitt, that is 17 fouls. 1-1 coming up for Marquette.
You see James right there. He splits it, hangs, and scores. And then you see Matthews, great fake right there. Again, penetrates, hangs, finish. And that's what I'm talking about. They all can finish. So not only do you have to stop their penetration, but now you got to send a shot block or something to try to make them miss the shot.
Usman Barrow, 23 minutes against Georgetown. He had 4 points on Thursday night. So front end of a 1-and-1, and Biggs with the rebound for Pitt. Pitt by 2. Here's Ramon, high arc, and that rattled out. Wesley Matthews for Marquette. Here's James. Barrow fouled by Krauser. The first on Carl Krauser, the 8th on the Panthers.
And again, James makes such a great decision. He comes down. You know, they reverse the ball right there. They skip it to him. It looks like he has a shot. He finds the open guy. He's so unselfish. And as a point guard, when you control the ball as much as he does, he has to be able to make decisions when he should take his shot and when he should pass.
Barrow is 0 for 2 from the line. This free throw's in play at 5:38 to go in the first half, with Pitt leading by 2. The Marquette freshmen have scored 14 points so far tonight on 6 of 8 from the field. Here's sophomore Barrow burying that one. Dwight Burke, a freshman from Brooklyn, New York, is in the game. Marquette from the free throw line is 5 for 7. A 1-point lead for the Pitt Panthers. They have the ball. Levon Kendall is back in the game, and here is a drive and a foul call with Graves putting the ball on the floor, and he was fouled on the move.
And John, we have to note that Pittsburgh is playing this well with their best statistical player on the bench. Gray has been on the bench for a long time with 2 fouls.
The foul was on Dan Fitzgerald, and Marquette has 17 fouls, putting Graves on the line for a 1-and-1.
Getting back to James for a minute, and the thing again that's so impressive, to have a freshman be able to come in and to have the sort of maturity to run your club and also be able to score his own points. You just don't find that very often in college basketball, and that's why I think this young man is so special, because he really does get other people involved, and then when the time is needed for him to step up, he's capable of doing that.
One more for Graves, who scored 19 on January 28th at Pittsburgh against the Marquette Golden Eagles. 2 free throws here. Graves from the line, a 61% shooter. Averages 3.8 points a game, and the Pitt lead is 32-29. Coming down to 5 minutes left in the first half in Milwaukee. There's James. Oh, he explodes into the lane, draws contact, and he still scores.
He's a tremendous finisher. And for people in the Big East, what Coach just did, he put Matthews on the point, he moved James to the 2. That's going to be a combination that Big East coaches are going to fear for the next couple of years.
Here's Graves, watched by Chapman. Graves with the spin move and the great pass to Biggs, who can't score it. Chapman is there for Marquette. Tyrell Biggs couldn't finish the close-in play. And Chapman will back away from Ramon now, and James indicating the set play. 20 on the shot clock for Marquette.
Look for Novak on the fade.
There's Novak open and off the glass for 2. 12 for Novak in the first half.
That was a good set call from the bench.
Marquette is in front by 1. A 3-point attempt short, down to Matthews. Novak's shot has the fans back in the game now. Marquette back in front, this time by 1. Novak backing away to midcourt. Wide open, Matthews in the corner, down it for 3.
That's up. Novak had the ball up top, and for whatever reason they ran at him, I think to make him give it up, and he found Matthews in the corner. This Marquette team is a very good passing basketball team.
Pittsburgh wants to talk about it with Marquette leading by 4, and let's take a look at the last score by the Golden Eagles.
I don't think that was a set play for Krause to run at him. I just think as a senior, he thought maybe he could pick Novak's pocket, and Novak did a great job in finding Matthews in the corner.
Novak with 12 points. Marquette is on a 12-2 run. 10 assists off the 14 field goals for Marquette. An indication of how well they've been moving the ball and how well they've been moving without the ball, Perry, to get open.
They really have. And again, you talk about 2 freshmen at your 1 and your 2. And in this league, to have freshmen be able to play that well and do like that, John, is really something special. This is going to be a combination the Big East is going to have to deal with a long time. I remember when the Villanova guards were just freshmen, and you see what they've grown to. I think they've got the same thing working here with James, McNeil, and Matthews.
Barry, you can go a long way in the NCAA tournament with terrific guard play, can't you?
A long way.
Here's Ramon in the front court. Levon Kendall. Bowser takes the handoff. Inside Novak and blocked away by Burke.
Offensive foul.
An offensive foul it is. Steve Novak has scored 2 3-point field goals. He has a couple of free throws and a couple of 2-point field goals. And his father, Mike, has enjoyed what he's seen tonight from son Steve. Marquette is leading by 4 over number 9 Pittsburgh in Big East play. Let's take a look at our Hyundai Cool Facts. As the Big East has 5 teams ranked in the top 16, 4 in the top 11. And Villanova, of course, knocked off number 1 Connecticut on Monday. Seton Hall has won 7 of the last 8. Defeated West Virginia on Tuesday. Of course, today, West Virginia and UConn played, and UConn withstanding the test as we're getting later and later in the Big East regular season. Gray is back in. Aaron Gray with 2 points. He left with 2 fast fouls. He's back in for the Pitt Panthers.
And that's a tough move by Jamie Dixon at this point to put him back in. One of the things, John, I think
Burke with the foul there.
Marquette's shooting 70% from the floor, and that's just a too high percentage against this Pitt defense right now. And I think that, the bench came in, did a great job for Pittsburgh. they can't continue to go up and down with Gray not being in the game, because you just can't match the points that Marquette can when they've got all their players playing. And I think Pitt has done a great job to stay close with Gray on the bench.
Gray misses the front end of the 1-and-1. Burke, who fouled him, got the rebound. Inside 3 minutes left in the first half here in Milwaukee.
But Pitt's gambling right now with Gray in the game.
And it's going the other way. A foul, and that's on Dwight Burke, his second. Foul off the ball. And Pitt will play it in. And that is 9 team fouls for both Marquette and Pittsburgh.
Look for the ball to try to go through Gray on this possession. They're trying to get him right there on the post stop.
Gray scores.
If you're going to bring him back, John, you might as well use him. That's what I'm saying. I'm sure they want to get the ball through him.
And they're not having trouble getting the ball inside to us. Not with that big frame of 7 feet, 270 pounds. Here's Matthews working on Fields. James at the point, and the taller Levon Kendall is with him. James was blocked by Kendall. And the ball belongs to Marquette. Was that off James? Ooh, that was close.
That was close.
Very close. And the officials are talking about it.
I think they're going to change it. Jim Burr, he's one of the best in the game.
And looking at our replay, looks like they got that one right.
Yeah. And Burr's one of those guys, when he comes over and he tells you, that's what I think. Coaches normally don't say too much, because 9 out of 10 times or 10 out of 10 times, he's normally right.
He's that good, Perry. I agree with you.
Again, they're going right into Gray.
Gray in on Barrow, and Gray using that big frame for position. Gets the job done. He has 6.
Jamie Dixon knew what he was doing. He brought him in, got 2 quick buckets out of him.
We are tied. That's short. And there's Gray with the ball for the Panthers. Here's Benjamin. Keith Benjamin shoots for 2. James up big and strong in the long rebound. Chapman in the front court. Lost his footing, and in the scramble is Barrow. And it's a held ball. The possession arrow favors Marquette with 1.5 minutes to go in the half. Coming up, our Nissan halftime report. We'll check out the Big East Wire, give you the other scores around major college basketball, and highlights and stats of an interesting first half here in Milwaukee tonight between number 9 Pitt and Marquette. All coming up on the Nissan halftime report.
And Pitt has got Gray out of the game. The gamble by Jamie Dixon worked. Gray came in, tied the score up, and didn't pick up any more fouls.
Here's Novak. He shoots and scores a 3. Give him 15 in the first half.
He does a great job of showing the ball and getting the defender out of position.
And then knowing where that line is, Perry. That's another talent. James got a hand on it. Barrow on the outlet to Joe Chapman. Fitzgerald back to Chapman. He shoots for 3. Count it.
Again, the selfishness of this Marquette team. Novak had a look, gave it back to Chapman.
Marquette's biggest lead now at 6 points. Out front, Keith Benjamin. Ramon, a 3-ball, and he answers.
John, it doesn't get any better than this. Both of these 2 teams are on top of their game.
Here's James, quick as a hiccup, he scores. Oh, did he find a seam and then set sail for the lane.
They're just going at one another right now. This is Big East basketball.
Coming down to 10 seconds left. A zone defense for Marquette. 5 seconds until halftime.
Look for Fields up top.
Fields with the runner. He scores! Count it! Levance Fields with 10 points off the bench. What an entertaining first half And the home team, Marquette Golden Eagles, have a 3-point lead. Here's Novak stepping behind the line for a 3-ball. And then Joe Chapman, he got into the act off of this pass. There's a 3-ball.
Ready to
McGuire Court, the Bradley Center, Milwaukee, our Nissan halftime report. And it's Big East basketball. The Pitt Panthers, the number 9 team in the country, against Marquette. And now let's take a look at this week's Big East wire and some of the statistical leaders. Rutgers explosive guard Quincy Doobie leads the Big East in scoring. He ranks 8th nationally, averaging 24.3 points per game. The 6'3 junior from Brooklyn, New York, can shoot the 3, create off the dribble, and finish in transition, making him one of the most difficult players to defend. Pittsburgh junior Aaron Gray is the leading rebounder in the Big East. He's 10th in the nation, averaging 10.7 boards a game. The big guy controls the glass on both ends of the floor, getting second shot opportunities on the offensive end, and then starting the fast break for the Panthers on the defensive end. Notre Dame senior Chris Quinn. He's 8th in the nation, averaging 6.3 assists per game. A terrific ball control guard, Quinn plays with incredible intelligence and knows where to deliver the ball, giving his teammates the best opportunity to score. Providence center Randall Henke is the most accurate player in the nation, one of them anyway. The 6'11 sophomore shoots an amazing .669% from the field. That ranks number 2 in the nation. Henke rarely takes a bad shot, using good footwork to get open in the post and putting the ball in the hoop when he gets it. Then there's Cincinnati senior Eric Hicks, 5th in the nation with 3.5 blocks per game. The 6'6 forward is an amazing athlete. He plays with a lot of energy and gets off the floor, allowing him to play a lot bigger than his 6'6 frame. Our Nissan halftime report will continue after you watch these messages. We'll be right back to Milwaukee. And our Nissan halftime report. And now it's time for the Aeropostale Big East Tournament flashback.
The 2003 Big East Championship was a rematch from the previous year and the 3rd straight trip for Pittsburgh. The Panthers were led by senior point guard Brandon Knight, whose 16 points and intensity on both ends of the floor helped Pittsburgh exact its revenge versus Connecticut from the prior year. Pitt prevailed 74-56, winning its first ever Big East Championship. This Big East Championship flashback has been brought to you by Aeropostale, providing scholarship through sponsorship.
And let's take a look at the teams trying to get to the Big East tournament. And today it was Cincinnati over Providence by 2. Actually last night with White scoring 22.7 rebounds for the Bearcats. Now today's scores, DePaul with a win against St. John's, and number 1 Connecticut outlasted West Virginia 81-75, and UConn hit 59% from the field. Here's Rutgers with a win over South Florida. Notre Dame, a final over Seton Hall, 102-91, with Notre Dame back in the win column. Quinn with 36 points. Then the first half, Louisville has a 3-point lead at Syracuse. Tomorrow, number 17 Georgetown and number 4 Villanova. That's noon Eastern time tomorrow, with 2 of the top teams in the country right from the Big East Conference. And we'll be back with more of our coverage of the Nissan halftime report. It's a 3-point lead for Marquette at the half over Pitt. Halftime as we welcome you back to the Nissan halftime report. And number 20 for Maurice Lucas. His jersey was retired. They don't necessarily retire the numbers here. They retire the jerseys to honor the great players in Marquette history. And Maurice Lucas certainly one of the all-time greats. And it happens to be his birthday today, Perry. Happy birthday, Maurice.
Tremendous player. I mean, in an era with under Al McGuire when Marquette was dominant in college basketball.
Let's check out the first half highlights. And fans, you're going to see some terrific ball movement to set up the scoring you're about to watch.
Great movement right there as Krauser steps up with a pass from Fields to knock down the 3, and it was the bench that really contributed for Pitt early. There you see a great drive to Young, and now a monster dunk right there.
That was a 3-point play.
And again, Pittsburgh moving the basketball right there. They bring Gray back. Coach Dixon made a bold move in bringing him back with 2 fouls. and he got him 2 quick baskets. Then Marquette returns the favor as Novak knocks down a jump shot right there. And James coming off a break, swings the ball around to Matthews. Tremendous finish right there by Matthews. Again, James, great penetration, hanging, scoring. He was the one that really got Marquette going.
And Marquette shot 65.4% from the field to lead 44-41 at the half over Pitt. We'll be right back. 1973 and 1974 had his uniform retired. The number 20 hangs in the rafters here at the Bradley Center. As I mentioned, they don't actually retire the numbers. They just retire the jersey to honor their great players. And in his first season at Marquette, Lucas was a member of the 1972-73 Rookie All-America team from the National Association of Collegiate Basketball Writers. What a great honor. Here we go with the second half, and Pitt trailing by 3 and with the basketball coming right out of the gate. Here's Ramon. Chapman is with him. 2-ball right there for Levon Kendall. He has 4 points tonight.
Look for Pitt to get Gray involved early as they did that time. He was able to get the ball. He's done a great job of kicking the ball out when he's been able to get in the low post.
Here's McNeil inside Gray. Lost the ball out of bounds. That's a turnover for Marquette, the 6th of the night. And here are your numbers from the first half, and check out the offensive boards.
That's where Pitt was really able to make up some ground when Gray was out.
65% shooting for Marquette in the first half. Here's Krauser open, and beautiful high arc. That's 2 for Carl Krauser.
One of the things Pittsburgh is going to have to do a better job in the second half. Marquette shot 65% in the first half. They shot 50% from the 3.
Here's James streaking all the way in, switching hands. He scores.
But they can't give up layups. They're trying to take away the jump shots. But that's what James will do to you. He can get in the gaps.
Marquette by 1 now. DeGroat, a nice catch. Krauser cut off by Chapman. There's Ronald Ramon.
Marquette has gone to a zone to try to shut down Gray's touches.
Gray's trying to get open, trying to get away from Novak. Gray tips the ball over to Jarrell McNeil. Dominique James. Here's Joe Chapman for 3. In there. He has 8. Gray was fouled by Barrow. Barrow was on Gray's back.
And again, James does a great job. He keeps his head up, sees the whole floor. Chapman's out of here. When wing guys know the guards will give it up, they really sprint the wings real well.
Here's Ramon. And he shot that one over Aaron Gray.
John, it may be cold outside, but they're shooting the lights out right now, both teams.
2 3-point field goals for Ronald Ramon. Ramon reaching in on James. James is so quick to the lane, isn't he, Perry?
He is, and he's physical, too. I mean, he can take the bump, and he doesn't get knocked off stride.
It's like he has some kind of sonar where he can just get right back on track after the contact and then glide to the hoop. He's an amazing young man.
He really is. And he's very mature, too.
Novak is open. But too strong on his 3-point attempt. And Krauser couldn't bring it in. Barrow was going for the loose ball. That's a held ball. And Marquette has the arrow favoring the Golden Eagles. Marquette to play it in with 17:45 left in the second half. I like the way both teams go for loose basketballs.
Oh, they do. Both teams play extremely hard because they both are well coached.
Kendall got a hand on that one. Marquette will inbound.
And, John, the other thing, the chemistry on both teams. I was at Marquette's shoot-around earlier today, and their chemistry and their enthusiasm was tremendous. And the same thing with the Pittsburgh team.
Here's Novak taking the inbounds pass. Marquette a moment ago just got its first offensive rebound of the game. Here's James. In on Ramon. High off the glass. Couldn't score it. Barrow. He couldn't bring it in for Marquette. Ramon. And a foul called as James finally gets away from Ronald Ramon. James commits his second foul.
That time he drove, and Gray came over and challenged the shot. He wasn't able to finish that one.
And then James made the foul, committed the foul right there. Pitt with the ball down by 1 now. 17:26 to go in the second half. Nice touch pass inside. Well, thought it was going to be, but Gray couldn't handle it. Couldn't get his hands on the ball.
That was one of the few mistakes Pitt has made in passing the ball.
Chapman with the miss and a line drive rebound to McNeil. There's James backing away to reset with 30 on the shot clock.
The Marquette coaches think that Pittsburgh is one of the best interior passing teams in the league.
McNeil off the glass. Barrow. And he's fouled. That foul, if that's on Kendall, is his third, indeed, number 3 on Levon Kendall.
But again, once you get that penetration, and we didn't see much of McNeil in the first half, but again, he's able to get into the paint, and it's amazing. I've never seen a set of guards that all can get in the paint as well as the Marquette guard can get into the paint.
Coach Dixon removes Kendall in favor of Sam Young. Kendall goes out with the 3 fouls. McNeil and James out front. Marquette with the basketball in a 1-point lead. And a 4-point lead. 18 for Novak.
Novak just squared and shot right over Benjamin that time.
Tom Crean was encouraging Novak to do just that in practice today, wasn't he, Perry?
Yes, he was.
And the foul. The Gray passing the ball to Ramon.
There you see he screens right there, then he pops. And that's a set play that they work on. Novak is so versatile because he can step away from the basket and put it on the floor.
Barrow committed the foul. And then Pitt was inbounding, only to have the ball knocked out of bounds. And then a foul has been called on Gray, his third technical foul. As Fran Connolly and Jim Burr talk about it now.
A technical foul is what it says.
3 fouls on Aaron Gray. And Novak is 2 for 2 from the line tonight. 62 out of 63 from the free throw line this season. He'll shoot 2.
That really hurts Pitt. I really didn't see much there, but maybe something happened earlier, but that really hurt Pitt.
Just a little nudge and a technical foul. And 2 free throws for Novak, giving Marquette a 54-48 lead with 16:29 left in the second half. Marquette to inbound.
You don't want your best player picking up his 3rd foul on a play like that.
Here's James hanging and missing. Barrow, he lost that fight with Tyrell Biggs. Krauser for 3, high arc and good.
He is really playing well tonight, Krauser. I mean, he's the steadying influence. He's the senior. He's been through the wars before, and he's the guy that's kind of setting the pace. And with Gray out, he's going to really have to step up now and lead his basketball team.
Antonio Graves and that Biggs. He interrupted Novak's concentration, and Graves brings the ball to the front court. And here's Krauser with the pass inside, and the basket for Sam Young. He has 7 off the bench.
And again, it was a drive. It was off of Krauser's drive. He's the guy right now that Pitt's going to have to run things through.
Marquette has 3 players waiting at the scorer's table to come back in. Here's a shot for 3. A line drive shot counted. McNeil. That's his first 3-point field goal tonight, and he has 5 points.
John, if Pitt's going to win this game, they're going to have to lock up and do a better job defending on the perimeter right now.
And they did a very good job of that, don't you think, in the first half?
Yeah, but again, this Pittsburgh team is normally very aggressive, and normally you shoot like in the 30 or 40% against them.
Foul against Pittsburgh, away from the ball. An elbow by Ramon. That's his third foul, and the Panthers are getting into some foul trouble. In the meantime, there's Jarrell McNeil from Chicago, Illinois. Pittsburgh 53, and let's take a look at the last foul. And this is a foul called against Pittsburgh and a foul called against Biggs. I had said Ramon. It was against Tyrell Biggs, his first. Ramon initially, we were told that was his third foul. Yeah. He only has 2 fouls, and Biggs was charged with his first. So 2 players with 3 fouls, Levon Kendall and Aaron Gray for the Pitt Panthers.
You know, John, both of these teams like to set screens, and both coaches told their players that that you had to be careful of moving screens, and they went over that with their team today, being stationary on those screens. So they anticipated those being called closely.
Wesley Matthews will bring the ball up for Marquette with the Golden Eagles leading 57-53. And a 5-second call with Fields contesting Matthews. Turnover for Marquette, and that's the 7th for the Golden Eagles tonight.
That was a set call, and Matthews was really waiting for his read off the set, and he got called for the 5-second call.
No foul call on the bump. Matthews was looking to the officials, and here's Biggs, and that's a 2.
Biggs has really stepped up and played well for Pittsburgh today. He's done a great job off the glass, and now he's stepping up, and he scored well in the first half. He's continuing in the second half. He and Fields have been key coming off the bench.
And here's a bullet pass low for McNeil. That's 7 for McNeil. The basket by Biggs on the other end a moment ago, Perry, though that was a basket off a turnover, and Pitt has outscored Marquette 14-7 on points off turnovers. And here's a turnover. McNeil will go to the free throw line. Graves has 2 fouls.
Marquette, even in the zone, is getting out in the passing lanes and challenging. And there you see the ball pressure right there. It's a really good steal by McNeil.
Jarrell McNeil, a freshman from Hillcrest High School in Chicago. 2 shots with 13:56 left in the second half.
You know, I love Dominic James, but McNeil and Matthews are both of those 2 guys are very, very fine players, John. And I'm telling you, I mean, I've been coaching. I coached for a long time. To see, 3 freshmen on the perimeter like that at one time, this group is going to be very, very special. And they like each other. They're unselfish, and they really feed off of each other.
Well, Matthews missed 8 games because of a stress fracture in the right foot. And he's beginning to get back into the mix about where he was at the time of his injury. And here's Marquette going to the loose ball. Matthews after the pass from McNeil. Novak! And he misses the long 3. McNeil tried to put the ball on the floor and is tied up. A held ball, and the possession arrow favors Pitt.
Novak was going for the dagger on that one. That was deep. That might have been from Green Bay.
Well, he stepped up and hit one from, I think, just north of Green Bay against UConn. Tonight he scored 41 points here in the Big East opener. Matthews bumps Ramon, no foul. 13.5 to go in the second half. 25 on the shot clock for the Panthers.
Gray's back in the game. Let's see if Pitt tried to get him the ball down low again.
There's Young walking into the lane. The turnover for the Panthers is their 9th.
It looks like Pittsburgh is losing a little bit of his concentration. Even in the first half when they got behind, they seemed like they were in sync with what they were doing and their concentration. They look a little frustrated right now.
Matthews guarded by Fields. Like Matthews can't get a good grip on the ball when he wants to pass. Fitzgerald is called for a foul. His second personal foul. And for Marquette, that's 4 fouls in the second half.
These officials know this game is very important. Both of these two teams are playing very hard. They set a lot of screens, and that's why you're seeing a lot of stuff called off the ball. They're really trying to clean it up because they don't want any incidents to happen.
There's a lot of time left in this one at 13:06 and counting in the second half. Graves on the outside to Sam Young. And Grimm is called for a reach in on Gray. That's 2 fouls on Grimm.
He had his elbow in Gray's back when Gray caught
happened.
the ball, and that automatically is going to get the whistle.
And that was the call by Jim Burr, and team foul number 5 on Marquette. The team fouls are even in the second half. The inbounds pass to Ramon. Donald Ramon with the lob. Inside there's Gray, and he walked with the ball. 10 turnovers for the Pitt Panthers.
You know, John, it's funny. In the first half, these two teams played with a lot of poise. They played at a pace that they could make plays. Now it seems like they're playing at a pace a little faster than what they're able to operate at.
Here's James in on Fields. Fitzgerald out high. And right back to James with 15 on the shot clock. After all, Perry, we are getting late in February. And a foul called on the dribble.
But it's almost like you'd expect that to be early and then they calm down as opposed to them being calm and all of a sudden now kind of getting in a rush.
It is a bit backwards. I agree with you. First foul on Fields, the 6th on the Panthers in the second half. And Wesley Matthews, a freshman from Madison, will inbound. He's looking for Grimm. Grimm back out front for James. A 6-point lead for the Golden Eagles, and there's Dan Fitzgerald. The turnaround shot for Matthews. What poise by the freshman.
You know, that's one of the things that Coach Green missed when Matthews was out. He's able to shoot over people and take people down the low post and post them up and shoot over top of them.
32 points from Tom Crean's freshmen, Matthews, James, and McNeil. 13 for Matthews, 10 for James, and 9 for McNeil tonight.
And that's from a class that wasn't nationally heralded. And this freshman class in Marquette is as good as there is in the country.
Kendall with the spin, and he's fouled from behind by Dwight Burke. 3 fouls on Burke. And there's some quickness for Levon Kendall. And Kendall will be at the line, but the freshmen have been getting the job done tonight here in Milwaukee, helping Marquette to a 63-55 advantage over the 9th-ranked Panthers. Bradley Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 9th-ranked Pitt against Marquette, along with Perry Clark. I'm John Rooney. Good to be working with you, Coach.
It's good to be with you, and we've been treated to a very, very good basketball game. You see Marquette right there shooting 65%. That's amazing against this Pitt defense, because Pitt's one of the better defensive teams in the country.
And each team in the second half with 6 field goals, even though Marquette has been able to release more shots. They've been active on the boards, and Pittsburgh has been terrific on the boards on the offensive end tonight. And at the free throw line, Levon Kendall.
And this young man has been key for Pittsburgh throughout the course of the season. He's given them someone that can score, and he's also had to defend some of the better players in the Big East.
Kendall went 1 for 2, and Gray tried to keep the ball alive, but Dominique James would have no part of it.
This is a very important part of the game, I think, for Pittsburgh right now, because with James and the guard player Marquette, and as patient they can be offensively, you don't want to get too far behind.
Here's James stepping up. Gray with the rebound. Grimm tries to take it away from him, and it's a held ball. Marquette's ball with the possession arrow.
And this is a young man that Coach Green really challenged earlier today in shoot-around to step up and to play well against Gray.
Most of the time, that's Gray's rebound all the way, but he couldn't get a good grip on the ball because Grimm was there. Grimm with the ball now on the wing. Here's Novak, short, and Gray won't let that one get away. Levance fields. Here's Graves stopping in the lane and scoring.
And Pitt answered that time. It's an important time, like I said, time in the game for them right now offensively to step up and to go on a little run here.
Marquette is working with a 63-58 lead. Dan Fitzgerald, Dominique James. James is guarded by Carl Krauser. That's a three-point attempt. And a rebound for Matthews. Trying to find Grimm. Fields taps it to the corner and saves it for Pitt. A wonderful defensive play for the Panthers. Here's Krauser, picked clean by James. 2-on-1 now for Marquette. That was behind, and here's a shot for three that won't go. The tip is good, but Fitzgerald getting a hand on it.
I talked about this in the first half, John. I think it's important right now Marquette go back inside. I think they're selling for the perimeter jump shot. Off the ball screen late in the first half, they hit the roll guy and was able to get some really good shots. They're going to have to go back to that.
Krauser is short on the try for three. Ray tipped that one to Grimm. A baseball pass to Fitzgerald. That's for three.
Just what I said. Shoot the three.
Marquette's biggest lead at 10 points with 9:39 to go in the second half in Milwaukee. And we have a timeout at the Bradley Center. This crowd is going nuts, and Fitzgerald scored a two, then this three ball. And they're celebrating on the Marquette bench. On Maurice Lucas's night where they retired his jersey, and on his birthday, his team Marquette has displayed terrific hustle, intensity, enough for a 10-point lead over the number 9 team in the nation.
They're really running the ball very, very well, hitting the glass there, and also stepping up and knocking down their three-point shot.
And that is Dan Fitzgerald, a 6'9 sophomore from St. Paul, Minnesota. He played at Tulane before coming to Marquette. And we're talking about a Marquette team that is hustling and scrapping for everything after being out-rebounded by 15 in late January in Pittsburgh.
Well, whenever you have playing the second game, I guarantee the Marquette players have heard about that a few times, about being out-rebounded.
You think Coach Crane and the assistants have reminded them?
A few times.
Inside, the ball is pulled free, and there's McNeil going to the floor.
Ooh. They called a foul on McNeil.
McNeil is called for his first personal foul. And wondering what that's all about.
McNeil does a great job of shooting the gap right there. And I think he called him for taking his legs out from under him, taking Young's legs out.
1-1 for Sam Young.
John, I think Pittsburgh right now to get back in this thing, they've got to get the ball inside. They got to get back on the offensive glass. That's where they make their living.
And Young makes the front end of a 1-1. And at halftime, some of the likenesses that are a little bit bigger than life behind the basket passed out to the students. They're doing their best to disrupt Sam Young. Didn't work. Young has scored 9. And if you're wondering where the foul was on that, is what Perry was saying a moment ago, because Young's legs were taken out from under him. By the officials called the foul. And Marquette on the attack now, leading by 8, and a hold is called against Krauser. That's his third. 17 fouls on Pitt. 1-1 now for Marquette. And Aaron Gray re-enters the game for Pitt.
What Marquette is doing offensively, they're either running James or McNeil on the baseline, letting them catch it. Then whoever the post guy on that side is coming up to set a ball screen, and they're coming off the ball screen. And if it's Novak, he's popping. And so far, that's really worked for him.
Another free throw for James. He earns a bonus here. 11 for Dominique. Did you notice when Aaron Gray came off the bench? Then Chris Grimm came off the bench for Marquette. Number 33 is in there now for the Golden Eagles. James missed the second shot.
Pittsburgh has to do, I think, they're calling the fist play, which is get the ball down low to Gray right now. So look for Gray to try to get a touch in the low post.
And first down. That's a way to protect the ball. But the foul is called on Terrell McNeil, his second foul. 1-1 coming up now for Sam Young. And Young looked like a fullback going off the center and the guard.
Unless it's Krauser or Fields, I'm not looking for anybody else from Pittsburgh right now to take three-point shots. I'm looking for them to really pound the ball down low.
Young with the miss, and McNeil there for Marquette. All the way in. And an offensive foul. McNeil has picked up his third.
And that's something the freshman has to learn. Yeah, he can't get that deep. He's got to pull up and take the short jump shot. Tremendous effort, the speed, he gets in the lane, pull up right there. He got too deep.
Traveling call on the inbounds pass. Marquette gets the ball back. 12 turnovers for Pitt, 10 for Marquette tonight.
John, this is a huge game for Marquette. They beat Georgetown earlier in the week. If they can get this one, I think it adds volumes to their resume, and I think it puts them in the NCAA tournament.
Here's James. He missed the shot off the inbounds pass. He was so quick to the end line. Krauser to Fields. He passed up the three. Graves shoots a three and scores it.
That's the poise that Pittsburgh played with early.
And they're right back in the game, down 69-63.
They're going to have to do it on the defensive end, though. They're going to have to put together some stops right now.
James to Chapman. James dishing it out for a three-point attempt that won't go for McNeil. One shot and out for Marquette. Here's Krauser. Grimm steps out and fouled him. The foul on Grimm is his third. Now Pitt is doing some things to scratch and claw back into this one. With Marquette leading 69-63, we have a lot more basketball to come. 63 inside 8 minutes to go. And let's take a look at a Red Lobster nothing but net shot of the game. This had a little iron, maybe just a touch. His hand was over the iron, though. Watch this.
That's going to be on a lot of Pitt highlight film.
Oh, you know it. Sam Young. Let's look at it again. Now, that was the net. I thought I heard just a little iron on that, but you're right. That was the Red Lobster nothing but net shot of the game. A vicious slam dunk by Sam Young. He was fouled on that and converted a three-point play after a timeout. He hit the free throw. Here's Carl Krauser. Scoring with the clock stopped. He has 13 points.
And again, John, this is the guy I think that is really going to be key for Pittsburgh in this basketball game. He's a veteran. He's been shooting the ball well tonight.
And a near basket and one for Sam Young, who's aggressive at the end line. He'll shoot 2 free throws.
But getting back to Krauser, not only has he been shooting the ball well, he's been getting other people involved.
First foul on Novak, Perry.
Yeah, and right now Marquette's done a good job with Gray, kicking him off the low block and taking away some of his effectiveness.
Sam Young has scored 9 points tonight. Pitt is 8 for 14 from the free throw line. Marquette 10 of 13 from the foul line tonight. Young is 3 for 6 from the line.
Gray over the back, I think. That's his 4th.
4 fouls on Aaron Gray. 18 fouls on Pitt. 1-1 coming up here for Marquette.
John, let's give Grimm a lot of credit. He has battled Gray tonight. He's done a great job of kicking him off the low block. He's done a good job of keeping him off the boards.
6 points and 4 rebounds for Gray. Novak with the rebound of the Grimm miss. 22 for Novak. When Novak scores 20 or more, Marquette is 5-0 this season.
Marquette's in the zone right now. They want Pittsburgh to take perimeter shots.
James trying to take the ball away from Young out of the triple team. Young finds Fields. Krauser steps up. He's in heavy traffic. Fields off the fake inside Fitzgerald and fans it out. And that floater goes. A beautiful shot for Graves. He has 9.
Graves has a real good mid-range game. He can get in the lane and he can finish also.
Coming down to 7 minutes left in the second half of play here at Marquette in Milwaukee. 71-66 Marquette. James in the lane. McNeil penetrates too hard off the glass. There's Grimm, and he's fouled by Fields. 2 on Fields.
And again, Grimm has stepped up and done a great job. And why he's so open, he's screening, and after he screens, he's rolling hard to the basket. His guy is still out hedging, trying to stop the penetration, and nobody's doing a good job of putting the body on it.
Grimm missed on a 1-and-1 attempt a moment ago. Novak rebounded and scored, and this is for 1-and-1 here.
Well, they have somebody standing right next to Novak this time to block him out.
Didn't matter. 3 points for Grimm tonight. The senior out of Brighton, Michigan, 6'10", 245 pounds. He played 15 minutes against Georgetown, but didn't score on Thursday night. He's looking for his 4th point. That rattles in. 73-66, Golden Eagles.
They're back man right now.
Fields to the wing. James is with him, and a hold is called on Dominique James. He has 3 fouls. Marquette is over the 10-foul limit, Barry.
Yeah. When he gets to be a junior, he may not get that called on him, but he's a freshman right now.
Levance Fields. He's on the free throw line for the first time tonight. One more for Fields. He shoots for his 12th point. Pittsburgh is 9 out of 16 from the foul line.
Look for another set call from Marquette on this possession.
12 for Levance Fields. 73-68, and Pittsburgh is staying close. And here's Novak. Too strong on his 3-point attempt. Levance Fields running the floor for Kendall. Krauser's open for 3. Oh, it rattled out. Matthews with the rebound for Marquette. Here's James.
They're going to let James run the baseline on this one.
Krauser is staying with Matthews, who slips, falls, and it goes the other way to Pitt. 5 seconds is the call. Marquette has turned the ball over 11 times.
What happened was he was trying to get the guys in position. They took James off the ball. They wanted him to run off the baseline, and they had Novak popping to the top.
Now Pitt can pull within 2 or 3 points.
And again, John, that's what veterans teams do on the road. They just kind of stick around and give themselves a chance to win going down the stretch.
Fields from the free throw line. And that goes in. 14 for Fields.
He has stepped up, and he has given them tremendous boost from the bench today.
Here's James kicking it out. The 3-point attempt won't go for Fitzgerald, and here's Krauser. Krauser weaving through traffic. Bullet pass low. And a 3-second call. I heard a fan behind us call that one, didn't you, Perry?
I think 19,000 called that one.
13 Pitt turnovers.
You know, it's key when you get the ball to shoot it when you can. If he had just shot it as soon as he got it from Krauser, he probably would have been able to score, maybe got fouled, but he didn't, and then the defense just closed in on him.
Aaron Gray, number 33, is back in for Pitt, playing with 4 fouls. And here's James going inside and scoring!
He is so tough off of that high ball screen.
13 for James.
I think it was a call. It was a foul call on the drive. Yeah, right there, he got Kendall.
Kendall with his 4th foul. 4 for Kendall, now 4 for Gray.
Whenever Marquette gets in trouble, they like to put James up top on a high ball screen, on a flat ball screen, and he can come off right or left because he's strong with either hand.
A 3-point play for James, give him 14. He averages 15-4 a game. A 6-point Marquette lead with 5 minutes left in this one. Ronald Ramon.
See how far Gray's kicked out? That's not where he really likes to operate.
And Gray gets tangled up with Grimm. For Grimm, 4 fouls.
See where he's normally what they do, they like to have a guard or perimeter guy come over and set a low cross screen for him to get him deeper on the block. But Marquette has done a great job defending that, and they've really been able to force Gray, I think, to operate a little further away from the basket than what he would like.
Gray is a 65% free throw shooter, 0 for 1. He missed on the front end of a 1-and-1 in the first half. They'll shoot 2 here with 4:47 left in regulation. 7 points for Aaron Gray tonight. In 31 minutes against Marquette, January 28th, he had 13 points, 20 rebounds, 9 of those on the offensive glass, along with a couple of assists and 2 blocked shots.
You know, John, Jamie Dixon has done a great job stepping in for Ben Holland, and Ben had this program at a certain level, and it's hard to come in and then you have to keep it, and he has really done a tremendous job of keeping the Pitt program among the elite in the Big East, and that's not an easy thing to do.
Having 320-win seasons his first 3 years as a coach, I'd say so, Perry. And there's Novak, lost the ball, but it was dribbled on the baseline by Antonio Graves, and the Marquette Golden Eagles will inbound. And there's Dixon, the first coach in school history with the Panthers to have 20 or more wins in each of his first 3 seasons.
And that new arena is something special, and they keep it packed.
That play was something special to James, who has 16.
I told you before, Marquette has a lot of different sets. And Tom seems to be able to go in his back pocket and pull out one when he needs one tonight.
Antonio Graves out front, watched by the freshman Matthews. Oh, here's Krauser, quick to the basket, and he'll shoot for a 3-point play as Dan Fitzgerald fouled him while Krauser was going on by.
They were able to clear out the weak side. There was a lot of action on the other side. Krauser drives that time and lays it up. But the action on the other side kept the defense occupied so nobody could come over to help.
15 for Krauser. He averages 15-7 a game. A 3-point play for Carl Krauser. He has 16 tonight, and it's a 3-point Marquette lead.
And this one is as good as advertised.
4 minutes left to play in regulation. Barrow with the pick. James with a slight opening, too hard off the glass. And the rebound for big Aaron Gray. Here's Krauser. Will he take over the game? No travel call. Gray at the high post. And James picked him clean.
Yeah, he held on to the ball a little too long that time.
Here's the shot for 2. Matthews with the miss. And there's Sam Young for Pitt. Ronald Ramon.
Marquette's only getting one shot, though. One offensive rebound. Look for him to try to get the ball down low to Gray this time.
Sam Young. Foul Krauser. Krauser drives and scores! Sensational! He has 18, and it's a 1-point Marquette lead.
Yeah, Carl's been on top of his game tonight. You could tell that early. That's why I said things are going to have to run through him.
Now let's see what Novak has in mind. A 3-point attempt that goes! He has 25. What a big answer to Krauser's basket.
Both of these two teams going back and forth. That time he was able to come off a screen. Gray did not switch out on him, and he knocked down the jump shot.
Novak has answered his coach's challenge with a 25-point game tonight. In heavy traffic, Krauser can't score. Here come the Golden Eagles with their freshman Dominique James. The stutter step move all the way in, and Gray knocks it out of bounds. 27 on the shot clock for Marquette. Boy, the seniors are playing tonight. Carl Krauser has scored 18. And on the other side, Steve Novak, the senior from Brown Deer, Wisconsin, give him 25. Tonight's Big East game has been brought to you by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. By Cooper Tires, proud to be the official tire of the Big East Conference. Cooper Tires, don't give up a thing. And by Red Lobster. Choose 2 of your favorite jumbo shrimp dishes now at Red Lobster. Let's check out our defensive player of the game, brought to you by Cooper Tires. Cooper Tires, don't give up a thing. And it's Dominique James. He has 1 steal and 5 defensive rebounds tonight, but he seems to be disrupting anything that gets close to the lane.
Well, he really has. His overall play has been very, very important for Marquette's success tonight.
Dominique James, 5'11", 175-pound freshman from Richmond, Indiana, the Big East Rookie of the Week, and that's the 4th such honor for this freshman out of the Hoosier State. Matthews out front to Dominique James, number 1, 81-77 Marquette. James with the shot from the free throw line, and it's off the back iron to Aaron Gray. Gray for Pitt, and there's the senior Carl Krauser. Krauser's looking for some kind of room. Ramon for 3. Count it!
And John, that was a set play.
Three-pointers.
That was a set play. Krauser got in the lane. He was looking to kick all along.
Now it's a 1-point ball game, Marquette.
And this is what Pittsburgh does. Again, when you're on the road, you just want to keep the thing close and give yourself an opportunity at the end to steal one.
Barrow with the pick for Novak. James takes the handoff, and he's guarded by Antonio Graves. 10 on the shot clock. Here's Matthews stepping up, and he couldn't score it. Barrow with the rebound. Ousmane Barrow out of Senegal.
Huge offensive rebound, and again, he got that off of Matthews' penetration.
And the Golden Eagles want to talk about it. Remember, they were out-rebounded by 15 January 28th at Pittsburgh when the Panthers beat the Golden Eagles 77-71.
Yeah, right now, though, coach is looking out. Yeah, James is a little tight right now. It looked like Matthews had a layup right there and kind of short-armed it. He's talking to his team right now. He's saying, guys, relax. When you get your opportunity, just shoot the ball regular. We're setting up a set play for you. We're going to get you a good look. Just knock it down.
And the crowd has been a factor tonight. The attendance, 19,007. That's the largest college basketball crowd in Wisconsin state history. 19,007 for Pitt and Marquette in Big East basketball.
Well, number one, this is a tremendous basketball community. It always has been. They've embraced this team because it plays hard. It plays tough basketball. The other thing, John, is freezing outside, so this is a great place to come and be.
And when you get that many people inside, it's nice and warm, isn't it? Oh, it's brutally cold out. Pitt is out-rebounded Marquette by 1 tonight. Marquette's ball with a 1-point lead coming down to a minute left in the game. There's Novak. He scored 25 in this one. Novak finds James. 15 on the shot clock.
Look for the high ball screen again.
8 on the shot clock. 5 on the shot clock. And time called by Crean with 5 on the shot clock. Tom Crean gets the timeout. Let's check out the Big East standings. Up to date for you with Villanova and Connecticut at 10 wins. Villanova with the 1 conference loss. West Virginia and Pitt at 9-3 right now. Georgetown 8-4. Marquette, Seton Hall 7-5. Cincinnati is 7-6. And the remaining schedule for Marquette: at Notre Dame, that's on ESPNU. Then at Louisville, and against Providence, as Marquette is trying to impress and is doing a pretty good job in his first year in the Big East.
Well, 2 wins in the same week against top 25 teams. I don't know what more a team can do late in February to get into the tournament. That's why this game is so important for Marquette.
Marquette is up by 1 with 5 seconds on the shot clock, 47 seconds on the game clock against the number 9 Pittsburgh Panthers, who've won 20 games. They're 20-3, undefeated at home, 9-3 in the Big East Conference.
But no matter what, Pitt will have a chance to come down with at least an opportunity to tie unless Marquette knocks down a 3 right now.
5 seconds on the shot clock. The officials are waiting for the second horn. Frank Scagliotta will give the basketball to Wesley Matthews. Jim Burr is over at the scorer's table, and Aaron Gray is Aaron Gray is going to come back onto the floor, and Levon Kendall goes over to the sideline because he came in after the horn. We had the second horn, and they disallowed the substitution. Matthews to inbound, and there's Novak with 4 on the shot clock. Novak throws up the shot that hit the glass. That's a shot clock violation.
Marquette was not able to get a good shot in that possession, and coach called a timeout with 6 seconds to go because he wasn't happy with the set that they were running.
That was the 12th turnover for Marquette. The fans stand 19,000 plus here, the Bradley Center, and timeout taken by Pitt with 37.7 seconds to go and 31 on the shot clock. What's going on now over in the huddle for Pitt, Barry?
Well, I think the ball's going to be in Krauser's hands. They're going to let Krauser make the decision. I think obviously they want to get the ball down low to Gray, but if it's not there, Carl seems like tonight he's been the guy that has had the best judgment of where to deliver the ball or take the shot. So some way, shape, or form, it's going to wind up in Krauser's hands to make a decision.
And for you Panther fans, if you're wondering about the remaining schedule for Pittsburgh against Providence on ESPNU, at number 11 West Virginia on the 27th on ESPN, and then on ESPNU March 3rd against Seton Hall. So Providence and Seton Hall at home, with the Panthers trying to go undefeated in their beautiful new building.
Now, for Marquette, what coach is telling them right now is no matter what, we're going to have another possession. So even if they score, we're going to have another possession, and whether or not to call timeout immediately if they do score or push the ball down the floor.
Pitt has 1 full timeout remaining. Marquette has 2 timeouts remaining. There's Krauser with Gray setting the pick. Krauser from the 3-point line used up the dribble. Gray inside in heavy traffic, and a foul call. The foul is against Marquette's Barrow. He has 3.
And again, Krauser made the pass because he's so strong with the basketball.
Gray is 2 for 3 from the free throw line tonight. Pitt is 13 out of 20 as a team from the charity stripe. 1 more for Gray. This can tie the game with 24.7 seconds left. He missed both free throws, and Chapman had the rebound.
You got to foul right away.
Chapman in the front court. And there's James.
You got to foul.
And there's the best free throw shooter in the league.
I don't think they want to foul. I don't know why they didn't foul in the backcourt. I know Coach Dixon had a plan, but I'm not sure why they didn't foul right away.
With 11.9 seconds to go, and Marquette up by 1. Steve Novak, 4 out of 4 from the line tonight. 64 out of 65 from the line this season. Will shoot for the Golden Eagles.
But even if he makes them both, a 3 can still tie it. And the reason I was saying they should have fouled right away, because you just have more time on the offensive end to run a play, John.
And here is a game-changing performance brought to you by Pontiac. Dominic James. 16 points tonight. With quickness like that, James has been a sensational rookie in the Big East Conference. Novak made both free throws and has 27. Pitt needs 3 to tie with 11.9 seconds to go. Fields in the front court. Ramon shoots the three. Short. Gray rebounds. Scores as the game ends. 10 for Gray, but not enough.
Tremendous basketball game. The referees are going over to check the clock to see if there's any more time.
Jim Burr is over at the scorer's table. Tom Crean is being sent back to his bench. 83-82 Marquette.
Yeah, when Gray scored, I really think he didn't know what the score was, because when he scored, I think he thought he actually had tied it. Else he would have probably kicked the ball back out. And again, I'm just reading his expression.
They needed a 3 to tie. Gray scored the 2-point field goal. And the last 5 seconds, right here, the missed 3-point attempt.
He has time to kick it back out, but he turns, he puts it in, and
Jim Burr is going to huddle with Frank Scagliata and Fran Connolly. He's talking with Scagliata right now about what they're going to do with the time.
The clock should have stopped right there, I think, at 3 seconds. At .3.
They have .2 on the clock right now. And it's a 1-point game. Marquette. 10 points for Aaron Gray.
The clock has been reset to .2 seconds.
Marquette to inbound now.
You almost have to foul before the ball can come inbound.
And now there's Jim Burr informing Jamie Dixon of the decision, explaining what has happened and putting .2 seconds back on the clock.
John, if things hold the way they are, a huge win for Marquette. And again, being able to beat 2 top 20 teams this time of the year, I think does a tremendous job for their resume. And if it doesn't put them in, it puts them right there knocking on the door. Of course, they have to finish. They still have to get a couple more wins. But I just think when you play top 20 teams, you're able to raise your RPI. And I think this is the way you're able to jump. And these 2 wins this week has been huge for them.
Wesley Matthews to inbound. Will be contested by Keith Benjamin.
You have to foul right away. Yeah, you have to foul right away.
.2 on the clock. And Marquette to the free throw line. 83-82 Marquette. Krauser with his 4th foul. And Marquette with back-to-back ranked teams, beating them the regular season twice in school history, 96 and 2000. They're trying to do that here in 2006. They're beating Georgetown and number 9 Pitt this week. Chapman to the line. He has been a steady senior. Steady player through his years at Marquette. 9 points for Chapman. Anything Tom Crean has asked of Chapman over the years, Chapman has done. Whether it's off the bench, playing a variety of positions, a variety of roles, he has come through for his coach.
Well, and I asked Tom, who's the guy that means the most to you that people don't talk about? And that's what he said, Chapman, just for the reasons you said, because he's so versatile. And he said when he's shooting the basketball, too, then that gives us another dimension, and we're an awful tough team to beat.
Pitt has 3 losses by 12 total points, and the Panthers right now are down by 2. And while we have just a moment, I want to say
a great job by our technicians and our staff in the truck. It was a quick turnaround in between a hockey game here this afternoon and a basketball game tonight. And for all those handling the lights, the cameras, those handling all the statistical work in the truck, our producer, director, just a marvelous job at turning things around, and some great pictures of this game tonight. Job well done, and Perry and I thank you very much. Chapman to the free throw line with 0.2 seconds on the clock, and a chance to put Marquette up 85-82. There's the miss, and that's the ball game. As Marquette has upset Pitt 84-82 in Milwaukee.
Tremendous win for Marquette, but this Pitt team played very, very well. It was a game where Gray did not have one of his better games, but guys came off the bench and really played well for him and gave themselves a chance to win.
Marquette goes to 8-5 in the Big East, 18-8 overall. Pitt falls to 20-4, 9-4 in the Big East. And the Panthers' losses have all come on the road at St. John's, at Connecticut, at Georgetown, and now at Marquette. But what a night for Steve Novak. 27 points. Dominique James was 16. Carl Krauser had 18. And Aaron Gray played with foul trouble. And an 84-82 win for Marquette over Pitt. Now for Perry Clark, this is John Rooney saying so long from Milwaukee. This has been a presentation of ESPN Plus, the leader in collegiate sports television.